Hey, this is Rich. Welcome back. I just finished week 90 taking weight loss drugs. I took this week's shot just a few minutes ago. So far, so good. Last week I had a little bit of a backwards slide. This week was better. I'll spoil it. I thought last week actually was more instructive than this week because this week was just back to normal and easier. And last week, I think you learn things when you have little bumps in the road and you try to reflect and see what was different about it. So, if you have a chance, go back and look at last week's video. I think it's probably the one that's going to help more than this week's, because this week's is, it's easy when things are going right. So this week, yesterday was International or National Employee Appreciation Day, which means that your boss sends an email. Good job, go team. It's kind of odd. They get really excited about it, and it seems to me that every day should be Employee Appreciation Day, not just a particular day. And if any of my bosses are watching this, sorry about that. Because I know that I'm not towing the company line, but I think it's important to say people are doing a good job all the time, not just on the one day that everybody's reminded to do it. That's just me. All right, let's talk about that a little bit, though. Yesterday was a National Employee Appreciation Day, and we had someone who's decided to retire, and so he'll be leaving in a couple of weeks. He just announced it, and so someone brought in donuts, and they put them literally right next to my desk. I could stand up and lean over and grab donuts. And I talked last week that, hey, I had cookies and some birthday cake on multiple nights, and I had, not just a cookie, I had 2 or maybe even 5 cookies a night. I didn't want to not partake because then I feel like I'm missing out, but I think also it's important to realize that not partaking and being a glutton are 2 different things. And so instead of having 5, I did have cookies this week too, because there was still plenty of cookies left where I was. But I would have 1 cookie or maybe 2 cookies, but not 5 cookies. So it worked out. I did have another piece of birthday cake, and that's all gone now, I think, finally. My sister made some homemade carrot cake, which is really, really delicious, even though I don't like a lot of frosting. I would rather have just the cake and just a little bit of frosting. There was a ton of frosting, and it was actually really good. So, that's just the way life goes. Don't be a glutton. So, we had the donuts, like I said, were sitting right next to me. Really wanted one. I really thought, I should just have one. I'll just have one. And I thought, well, I'm having cookies, and I had some cake, and, maybe I don't need the donut, and maybe I don't feel like I missed out. And so that was the mindset I went in with. I did not have a donut, even though I could have just reached over and grabbed one, which was okay. And the whole thing of being on these drugs is not that you're going to lose weight because you're on the drugs. You're going to lose weight because your brain doesn't constantly chirp that you need food and you need to eat everything in sight. And it just allows your willpower to be a little more powerful than before. So the food noise really diminishes, and I was able to just not have a donut. I didn't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it today, even though I'm talking about it. I'm just talking about it because I'm talking to you. But realistically, I think it's all good, and I actually am quite happy that I didn't have a donut, because I think a donut, and the donuts that the person brought in were these big maple donuts. And with maple frosting on them, and I'm sure they were 500, 600, 700 calories a piece. They looked like they were extra special. So I think I did okay, and I don't feel bad about it, and I will take those choices all the time, as long as I'm not cutting everything out, as long as I'm not eating everything. Somewhere in the middle is where I want to be, and that's where I ended up this week. So, like I said, I think I learned more from my struggles, and I think luckily last week I struggled, so this week I was able to be a little more confident and more conscious decision making, and it ended up being a good thing. Anyhow, you didn't come to hear me yabber on about what I learned and what I didn't learn. Well, maybe you did, I don't know, but let's talk about something a little more fun. What do you call a pig who knows karate? What do you call a pig who knows karate? A pork chop. That was the better one, by the way. Sorry. So if you want to fast forward, now's your time, because I've already warned you. When you see someone with a clean desk, when you see someone who has a clean desk, you know they have a cluttered drawer. And now, when I'm watching it with my family, someone's going to say, "What did he say? What'd you say?" I said, "Clean drawer." You know, push everything into the drawer. Yeah, all right. Not much of a joke, but it was. I think it's kind of funny and actually pretty instructive. All right, how did I do this week? This week I had a really good week. I lost 4 pounds. That brings me to a total of 44 pounds down on Mounjaro since the end of November. It's now the beginning of March. Anyway, 44 pounds since the end of November, and I'm down a total of 131 pounds since I started this 90 weeks ago. I can't believe it's 90 weeks. We'll see you next week.